Hello, my lovely islanders. I'm Momo, and today I'm going to show you how I basically finessed fan art into being a portfolio piece. So, for those of you who don't know, which is probably most of you, I'm a huge Love Island fan. Have been for a minute. I started watching in from Love Island UK years, I believe season 4. Went back, watched the whole thing, and now here we are with Love Island USA finally hitting its stride. Now, in all those years of being a fan of Love Island, I have never, not once, ever been compelled to draw fan art for this thing. It's just not that kind of show, okay? But there's something in the water. There's something in the water this season of Love Island USA, and I was moved a little bit. I was. So if you know, you know, but there's one particular couple on this season that's kind of blowing up right now. They're a very attractive couple, as are most people on that show. Everyone on that show is like super hot. Good job, everyone. But there's one particular couple who they are kind of like the it couple from season 7. And in addition to being the it couple, that comes with a lot of internet chatter and a lot of almost like fan fiction, if you will, of people putting scenarios together of them and their face, like they would look good in this scenario kind of thing. All that rambling aside, to say that somewhere on the internet there was a lot of talk about Alandria of the Nicolandria duo, because if you didn't pick that up before, that's who I was talking about. But there's a lot of talk about how she has a very vampire look, and that the two of them should be vampire lovers in some sort of fantasy novel situation. And I said, I kind of dig that. So I got to thinking I wanted to do something of that nature, but I didn't want to just, I don't know, I didn't just want to put some fangs on them and call it a day. I wanted to make it a production, because that's who I am. I wanted to go a little bit over the top. Always just a little bit, but, you know, for good reason. So I really wanted to do some sort of vampire-inspired thing with those two as like the main inspiration and the main characters featured on this thing. And I decided that the perfect proxy, if as far as like media wise, that I could think of for a reality TV show would be something like a pulp novel of yesteryear. So for those of you who don't know, pulp novels tended to be these, or were these, really cheap, quick novels. They were printed on cheap paper, hence the name pulp, and they tended to be very flamboyant, very dramatic, over the top, sensationalized, literary, quick novels. They often also were like science fiction or fantasy, etc. And I feel like that kind of fits the vibe of a reality TV series. You know, it's quick, it's fun, it's poppy, it's a bit over the top. And so I felt like the two mirrored each other. So I thought that was like the perfect framing for this book cover that we're gonna do. So I went ahead and made 2 different book covers because it was just so nice I had to do it twice. And the main theme, the main idea behind it was to do a pulp horror novel. I have talked a bit before about fan art. I have a bit of a contentious love-hate relationship with fan art. I did make a video previously where I was kind of like, maybe I should stop doing fan art? I don't know. But here we are. I am who I am. I couldn't help it. So I really wanted to make sure I made work that was attuned to things that I wanted to get more professional work in. I think that's the most important thing if you're approaching also doing fan art and you want to use this fan art to get more professional work. I think the thing to think about is, what's the professional work that I'm trying to get? So I, as an illustrator, I normally work in books, and so I want more book covers. And I particularly want more middle grade covers. I don't think this will get me that, but I do think if I'm looking to get more work that's catered to more adults, or maybe something that is making light of or making reference to something vintagey and horror inspired, this might open that door for me a little bit. I hope so. We'll see. But I think the most important thing when you're doing something like this is remembering what exactly am I trying to get work in, because whatever we make next should suit that. So here's kind of a quick example of how to kind of recontextualize the same idea in different ways to get different kinds of work. If I wanted to not get book covers and I wanted to still do fan art of these two people from this show, but frame it towards work that I wanted, and I wanted to be a character designer, I would probably work on doing character sheets and character turnarounds of them as a vampire and a vampire hunter or something to that effect, right? So same fan art idea, but now I've made it specific. I've catered it towards something that I want to get more work in, because at the end of the day, I don't think people who are hiring and looking at your portfolio really care where the inspiration comes from. They want to see that you can do it because they want you to do that for them. So you get where I'm going with this, I would assume. Originally, I did not plan to do 2 books. I must say, I really was kind of just gonna do a little one and done, get it out my system. Wow, what a fun time we had. But then I posted it on TikTok and it kind of blew up a little bit. And everyone in the comments was kind of stroking my ego a little bit. And a lot of people wanted to see a version where both characters were vampires. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do that. I don't know. But then I woke up in the middle of the night like, oh my God, I had an idea about how I could do that. So that's how we got book 2. And personally, even though this one did not blow up to the same extent, to put it lightly, as the first, which, that tends to happen with sequels sometimes, doesn't it? I do personally love the 2 of them as a pair. I do think that I like the contrast between the 2. I think the first one feels more like typical vintage pulpy, and then the other one I kind of went in a different direction of making, I don't know, a physical book reference towards what I think reality TV feels like, which is I kind of went for like a soapy beach read version of the same book. So book 2, everyone knows the second in the series, the second or the third, I guess, is always the summer edition. Okay, I'm looking at you, High School Musical 2, and it's always fun and kind of campy, and that's the vibe that I wanted to go for this. I wanted it to feel soapy. I wanted it to feel a little bit like overtly romantic in a way that the first book didn't feel. And maybe there's a little bit of a disconnect between book 1 and book 2, but I also feel like books that fall into this category tend not to connect anyway. That, I think this works perfectly. I also like, speaking to the disconnect between the 2, I was kind of going for opposites but complementary in a way. So the first is very cold, it's blue. The second is very warm and orange, which those are opposites on the color wheel. Maybe I thought about this a little bit too hard, I don't know, but I really wanted them to feel like they fit together even though they are opposite, they're opposing forces to each other. So I feel like the second book is meant to feel a little bit more like warm and inviting, and like we're both happy to be here now. There's no more temptation in this. The first book was like, oh, I was tempted, I don't know what to do, oh no, help me. And then the second book is like, now we're both in this together. We're both vampires, we're on an island, yeehaw. I don't know. Someone did promise me on TikTok, someone did promise me fanfiction based on the first drawing, so I'm very excited to see what they come up with. And you know what, maybe if they see the second one, we'll get a little excerpt of that too, because I think it'd be so fun to almost like package it up like a little book. If you know me, I do tend to go a little overboard, and I do like making like physical versions of things. I think it's fun to see my work not just on the screen, like in real life. So I think it'd be so fun to make like an actual pulp book. Oh my God, like now I'm thinking, you guys. Stay tuned for part 2 because I'm thinking about it now. Okay, let me wrap up. I'm doing the Caribbean girly thingy where we're standing at the car. I'm like, oh, but we're saying our goodbyes, but we've been saying our goodbyes for 40 minutes and I refuse to get in the car. That's what's happening right now. But I think that's pretty much all that I need to say, and that's kind of all the time we have here today anyway. Just to reiterate, when you are making your fan art, just think about where exactly or who exactly do I want to see this? What kind of work do I want to do? And align your fan art to that thing, whether that's character designs, book covers, comics. Make the fan art that suits that medium. And portfolio piece, boom. I know it was very simple advice, but hey, sometimes you need to hear it, and that's what I'm here for. So you're welcome. Anyway, I am taking forever to wrap this up, and I really should go. So as always, new videos on my channel every other Saturday. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube things somewhere down below. And also hit that bell notification, just in case you want to see when these things are posted. You're here, we're locked in together. Yeah, you might as well hit that. All my links somewhere down there as well. And yeah, I hope you have an excellent rest of your weekend or whenever you're watching this. And if you're also a big fan art girly, go ahead and share some of that with me, because I want to be a fan of what you're a fan of, because I don't know, fandom is fun. All right, guys, until next time, goodbye.